Yo, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the African Fighters Podcast. It's your boy JB back again with another episode. Thank you for joining. Hit the like button. We appreciate it 110%. Today, we've got a couple of things to discuss. We're going to talk about the top African fights coming up this August. We're going to talk about Dricus and Izzy being the biggest African MMA fight ever and what might be the closest second, which is a very difficult question to answer. We'll talk about Impa Kasanganai's chances in the PFL. We'll talk about Don Madge also in the PFL. We'll talk about Temba Gorimbo fights in Niko Price as well. And yeah, my name is Jabril. This is King Dems of the King Dems podcast from London, England. He is the president of the Israel Adesanya fan club. If you don't know about it, forget about it.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Hello guys, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Another week in your life, guys. Yeah. This is the African Fighters Podcast. We talk all things Africans in combat sports, in the space of combat sports. We chat about it, boxing, taekwondo, judo, kickboxing. We don't care. As long as there's an African shining, we put a light on it. Thank you for joining us, as I said. King Dems, there's a lot of unrest in the UK right now with regards to protests and riots up and down the country, which does not favor
Even back
people that
home.
look like. Oh, the one back home is a totally different ball game. I'm wearing a Nigerian jersey. I'm very patriotic. But let's talk about right here. Here, our second home. Okay. This protest is not fair or favorable to people that look like me and you. So I hope you're safe out there in London. Is there any chaos going on?
So I think I've been mostly indoors lately, working from home. So I really can't gauge the pulse of what's happening outside. But I know it's not looking good outside. It's not looking good on the streets. I think
Yeah.
I live on a high road, and then I saw the police vans and ambulance, doing a lot of work, and like, whoa, what's happening right here? So I wonder what's going to be happening in central London and other places. But I'm just on my league.
Yeah. Well, me, there's been a bit of a chaos in town. I don't really live in the middle of town. I live in Nottingham, but not in the middle of town. But apparently, a counter protest neutralized the guys that were protesting. So
Wow.
that died really quickly, and the police picked up most of them. Um, but how about the protest happening in Africa? In Nigeria, to be precise. Nigerians have a hashtag going on end bad governance, and we've been seeing some ugly pictures and videos coming out from Nigeria. I hope nobody at home, no family member has been affected by this, Kingdoms.
No, not that I know of, right? But there's been serious issues back home, especially with internet. The internet services have been jamming. I was meant to have a podcast with a musician friend of mine who's currently on her media tour, right, because of her new album. But I could not even get to do anything because the network was terrible. Switching from
Yeah,
MTN to Airtel to anything, they are all messed
and
up. I'm
StreamYard doesn't really help because StreamYard in
I was using
Nigeria
Riverside.
precisely isn't it?
I've switched to
Oh,
Riverside. Yeah, both
all right,
Riverside and
Riverside.
StreamYard could not hold up.
Yeah, well, apparently the government are playing funny with the internet connections in Nigeria. But that's it. We just decided to talk about real life situations for 2 minutes. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. But before we do, please, my brother, Bruce Broffa, do you have anything to say?
Ah,
It's time!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Thank you, brother Bruce. Appreciate it. Let's jump straight right into it. It's the month of August, guys. It's Dricus Duplessis defending his middleweight title against Israel, the last style bender Adesanya, in UFC 305, August 17th, right? I don't think we've done a lot of deep dives about this. We've spoken about it on so many different angles. But It's getting real, guys. It's only 2 weeks out. It's getting pretty serious. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the president, Israel Adesanya fan club sitting right there.
There
King
you go.
Dems, this is a big sigh, right? This is because in the history of combat sports in Africa and outside of Africa, right, there have never been a fight that is big as this, the magnitude as this, that involves an African in the A side and an African in the B side, right? A Nigerian flag here and a South African flag here. If you guys don't know, Nigeria and South Africa have been pretty much rivals in most things in Africa, from the music to the movies to everything going on, football, like I must add. And recently it became MMA, right? And it got ugly. It got a back and forth got ugly a bit. It got a bit of some racial undertone going in there, which, to be honest, I feel like if it was just, it wouldn't have been this enormous. I'm talking about the racial conversations. If this was just a fight that was happening in the African bubble, but now because this is a big bubble, UFC, the Big Apple, and there are so many fans from different walks of life, different races, race, different religion, tribes, and all that. Now everybody is putting their own opinion in. Dricus said something, Izzy said something, and I promise you, if this was in an African bubble, nobody would care. But now because it's in the global stage, everybody feels they have an opinion about it. Most especially people that are not necessarily African, so they don't really get it. But forget all those uncomfortable conversations. Let's talk about this fight. Let's talk about this fight first before we talk about which other African fights in the past might rival this as being a big one. So yeah, I know I've asked you for a prediction. We've spoken about this offline. Again, you did say
Offline and online.
If King Kong makes welterweight, Izzy will beat King Kong. That's what you. If King Kong makes middleweight,
Middleweight.
Izzy
Yeah.
will be Izzy will beat King Kong. But I want you to remove emotions because I know Israel Adesanya and your brother. Move emotions aside. How scared are you for your boy Izzy when he squares up against Dracus?
I think I'm actually scared of the fact that I am not scared.
Mm.
I'm actually scared that I'm not scared. So I think styles, they say, make fights. And I think Ease's style is very, very well suited to counter and neutralize the style that Dricus Duplessis brings to the table. We've seen that with the likes of Paulo Costa and Robert Whittaker. I don't see any, other fighter in the middleweight division who is more well-rounded than Robert Whittaker, right? And we saw how easy neutralized them in the first fight and the second fight. The Dricus Duplessis we know, right? He blitz, right, and tries to mix in with takedowns, right? And we know what Ease's takedown defense is. Even specialists like Derek Brunson, keep short in trying to take Easy down. So I think, and with that anger and that layoff, that energy, the ginger that he's coming with, don't worry, Easy gets it done. But my prediction is he gets it done in the third round. I know with the way Duplessis, fights recklessly, Easy will catch him on the counter and, you know, dismiss him.
Well, so
Third round,
why
yeah.
is it that nobody has solved the puzzle of Trickers, right? You say he swings for the fence, he fights unorthodox, he blitz, he grapples, he does this, he does that. You know this because there's a lot of tape for fighters to study, but why is it that nobody has actually neutralized that? Because I saw an interview with Dracos
Yeah,
where he was talking
in
about
UFC, in the UFC, of course he doesn't have an undefeated record, so there are people who have beaten him in the past, right?
no, 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 no. I'm talking about the current Dracos, not the former Dracos. But here's the thing. I saw an interview where Dracos was talking about Easy doesn't fight well when you when you allow him to execute his game plan. And Izzy is known as being a counter puncher, right?
Exactly.
And if you just go haywire, he's waiting setting traps and all that, you are going to suffer. So you shouldn't allow him execute his game plan. You shouldn't allow him chop you down from top to bottom. And you should just get in there. He says, obviously, calculatively, whatever words he used, he spoke about that at length, and that got me scared. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm wearing a Nigerian flag. I'm wearing a Nigerian jersey. My body, I'm Nigerian. So obviously, emotionally, I'm with Easy with this one, but my brain is telling me that Dracos might win this one. I know it sounds like blasphemy coming from a Nigerian and an Easy stan like I am, but I had a conversation with someone who knows both Easy and Dracos. She
Dricus.
told me she's very smart when it comes to MMA. This girl, very smart. And she feels, and she's more of an Easy fan than actually Dracos fan, right? And she's even more close, emotionally more close to Easy than she is to Dracos. And she told me
Okay.
that Dracos wins this one. She
And
hates to
that's
say
her
it, but Dracos
opinion.
wins this one. And
That's
she's
her
very
personal
smart when
opinion.
it comes to MMA. She's someone that mix it up in the gym as well. So that got me scared because I know the caliber of a person that person is. And for her to say something like that, it got me thinking, it got me doubting what his chances are. We know the age factor is in play. But I'm going to take you back to something that happened before Easy lost his title. When Easy fought Pereira the first time and the second time, right? He did mention about going for it instead of being a counter puncher. You cannot counter strike against Pereira. And we saw how successful he became when he put the pressure on Pereira, even though the knockout he got was from counter striking because he
I was
played
gonna
possum
say
and all
that.
that. Yeah, but when he had his foot on when he had his foot on the gas pedal, he was more successful. If you go back to Easy versus Pereira, all the how many rounds did they fight in UFC? I think they fought about 8 rounds together, and I would say Easy won most of those rounds, or if not all of them, except for the knockout that Pereira had in the fifth in their first fight. So Easy can also be offensive as well. So now I feel like it's more of the game plan coming in. Can Easy can Easy's chin withhold when Dracos catches him with one of those blades that he does? That is a question. Easy is 35 years old. He has suffered a TKO loss. We saw Strickland drop him down with a knockdown
Yeah,
with when he
by the way, Duplessis
hit
was
him
saying
flush in the
if he gets that same shot that Strickland got on Easy, that it's good night for Easy. But we'll see. We'll see if he's able to get it. Easy's a sniper, remember.
All right. Let's segue to this topic that is on our thumbnails. So, which African fight would you say has been the greatest, apart from Dricus versus Easy? I'm talking about the A side and the B side both being Africans.
Oh, that's a very tough one. For ease of reference, I'll just go back to the last EFC fight that my man Eagle Cabeza had. Maybe Eagle Cabeza versus Bulenga. So,
It's funny you bring that. It's funny you bring that up, right? For anybody that watches EFC, I apologize. I'm very, very late to the party. I started watching EFC when they discovered their PI and they refused to do a big show outside of the PI. So, in my eyes, if a fight is big, an African fighter has a side and a B side. If it's big, I'm talking about the gate, the tickets sold. I'm talking about the views online, the buzz that was created on social media, if social media existed at the time. I'm talking about how many people were talking about it. I'm talking about the star power as well. And to be honest, if you go back, the EFC has done how many events? They've done what, over 100 events in their lifetime, and they've done bigger arenas in the past, unlike now. They've had Temba main event in an arena. They've got Dricus main event in an arena as well. So obviously, certainly, I'm not an EFC encyclopedia. There must be a fight in there in one of those big cards that they used to have that was like a bourbon, something that requires a bit of a research. Because again, I am not an EFC nerd. But I'm going to say this. If you look at the
You should
realms
ask
of
Chichi
combat
Oka.
sports, yeah, probably add Chichi Okafo into this conversation, into
I'm
this group
telling
chat.
you.
Yeah. Um, but if you look at the size of Dracos versus Easy, right? The world is talking about it. They'll probably do good business for the UFC and the build up going towards that fight. There's another fight that happened that did not happen in MMA, happened in boxing. We had Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua earlier this year. Both Africans, both of them wave. Francis Ngannou waves Cameroon flag, obviously from Cameroon. Anthony Joshua, British Nigerian. Okay, so that is the closest to an African versus an African that I think matches the caliber of Easy versus Dricus. And I would go with Easy versus Dricus over that fight because Easy versus Dricus is more of like a 50-50 thing. Um, while Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou is more like, okay, an MMA fighter versus a boxer. And that was like a cash grab for both fighters in Saudi. We know the rest. But
Big cash.
when it comes when it comes to Easy versus Dracos, there's quite a lot on the line. I cannot even start to tell you the amount of things that are on the line. There's a lot of um non-Africans that are putting themselves in this conversation. Weasel that are they have no idea what it means to be an African, and
I
they
swear.
they feel like, oh, because they I try to keep things positive in here, but because they those guys, because they feel they've got an audience and they've got a very very big mouth, they
I
talk
have an
about things that they
opinion.
have no idea. Yeah, they have no idea what they're talking about. So those people have taken sides, and someone like me, who I adore Dracos and I adore Easy. Dracos was kind enough to give us an interview and he responds to our DMs and we collaborate on Instagram, on social media and all that. But
And you
those
fight with them
guys,
a Gorinbo in
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
post.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those guys, I'm talking about the guys that try to justify some negativity about us, right? Those guys that hide behind, oh, uh, this is a proper narrative. I'm sure I'm getting people that don't know this story are getting a bit confused. Those guys are the guys that are making us turned off with Dracos. Like, okay, because of those guys, we don't want Dracos to win. That's sort of like what it looks like. Even people that look like me and listen to those guys have the same narrative that I do. Obviously, I'm not going to I'm not going to sit here and allow somebody's stupid opinion to sway me um into picking a legitimate giving my legitimate prediction. Anyways, honestly, I've lost my train of thought. I
But
just
then
got a bit emotional.
cover the names, cover the names. But let's look at the styles. Cover the bad blood, the rivalry, the sensitive issues here. But then
Mhm.
style versus style. Whose style do you think is favorable to get the win? What is easiest pathway to victory? What is trickiest pathway to victory? And that way you can have an
You
objective
cannot just talk about
assessment.
style. Ask yourself: is Easy in his prime, or is he past his prime? That's the question you should ask yourself. Because the last time we saw Easy, it doesn't look like he is in his prime anymore.
I
They said that
would
a few
argue
injuries. They
based
said he
off
was
the
not
fact that
he was injured and all that. But if you put Dracus in his prime, which I believe he is in right now, and Easy in Easy's prime, I believe the odd makers would sway the favor to Easy's side. right? But
Is the
right now,
favorite on the
is
betting.
he still the favorite in the betting? Well, I don't bet, so I wouldn't know. So wow,
I can quick check on what's it called Betway. Sorry, Bet 365 right now for you. But the last time I checked, Easy was still the favorite. So what are we talking about?
yeah. So again, you saying style versus style. Me, I'm saying prime versus prime. Easy 35 years old, Dricus is 30-year-old. Ah, it's not favoring Easy because with the eye test from the last fight that Easy fought, my brother, I'm not very confident. I'm not as confident as you are. So, are you still
I
checking
am
the
very
odds or should we go ahead?
I am very this.
Why are you running, my brother?
There's nothing you can tell me. There's
All
nothing.
right, guys.
Absolutely.
Let's go on. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. All right, let's talk about some top African fights happening this month of August.
Okay.
Obviously, we've been talking about Dricus versus Easy, UFC 305 on August 17.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the world of PFL, PFL has gotten to the playoffs of their competitions where they win $1 million. And we still have a few Africans still in the competition. We've got Impa Kasangana in the light heavyweight division, and he's going to be taking on Josh Silveira in the semi-finals, which is a repeat of the finals of last year. Obviously, Impa won the finals last year, so now they are going to do a rematch in the semi-final to determine who would get a chance to fight for $1 million. It's going to happen on August 16. That is a fight I am excited to see. Next, we've got Don March, the Magic Man from South Africa, fighting a Russian Umalatov on August 23, which is in the semi-finals of the welterweights of the PFL. So it's a bit tricky with Don March. Don March, obviously, he lost his fight before he qualified. His last fight he lost, but he qualified on points to the semi-finals. And him being in the semi-finals against three other Russians, right? He's the only non-Russian in there. It's swamped by so many so many Russians, and these are people that are grapple heavy. What are the
This guy's
chances
a
of Don
menace.
March? What are the chances of Don March making it out of the PFL semifinals and making it to the finals? We'll talk a little bit about that, but those are the three fights I'm excited about the month of August. I take it again: Dricus versus Izzy, UFC 305, August 17, Impa Kasangana versus Josh Silveira, PFL playoff semifinals of the light heavyweight division. That's August 16. Don March versus Umalatov, August 23rd. You've got any fights you're excited about in August?
Uh, in August, apparently it's Dricus versus Easy, and of course I have done the fact check. Easy is 1.8, and Dricus is 2.0 for the win. So Easy is actually the favorite. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about Temba Gorimbo versus Niko Price.
Oh boy.
Why did the UFC make this matchup? I feel like when I saw this matchup, I feel like, the UFC, they actually do love Temba because if you look at Niko Price's records, it's almost like they use Niko Price to gauge, to make other fighters look good. Because let me give you a list of the people that Niko Price has lost to. Niko Price was the fighter that was fed to Robbie Lawler when Robbie Lawler had his last fight in the UFC. Niko Price lost to Abdulrazak Al Hassan years ago when Razak was like the next big thing. Niko Price lost to Jofnil when Jofnil was on his way up. Vicente Luque, Philip Rowe, Michel Pereira. These are all the guys that the UFC paired him up with, and he took L's with these guys. And now
Even though
we've got
that's
Temba
Rooney,
Gorimbo. Yeah. Wasn't that a no contest
it was a
with
draw.
Cerrone? Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
It
it
was a
was a draw.
draw. Then it was turned into a no contest because Nico Price tested positive for marijuana.
like marijuana, like Igbo will help him win a fight. How does that
I,
make sense?
I don't get it. But you know
You
when to
so
test for
so you mean if I knock out if I was a UFC fighter? Wait, sorry. Let me take a step back.
how
Kamaru
did you
Usman
know
knocked
I
out
was fighting?
Jorge Masvidal. Let's assume they did blood test and they say Usman had marijuana in his system. So you mean to tell me that he
They
only
will
knocked
tell.
down Masvidal because he was high on Igbo?
Yeah.
Your mumu no, your
Case.
mumu too much. Your mumu too much.
Oh, I'm telling you, like it's crazy. Marijuana, that's crazy. But it is what
Yeah.
it is.
So Niko Price versus Temba Gorimbo. What are your thoughts?
I feel like the UFC loves Bemba, so they're giving him, another big name to step up his record because you have, you know, run through his resume in the UFC. He's fought the who is who, in that division. So it's a gradual build up for Themba Gorimbo. Themba Gorimbo has put up a 3 fight win streak, and of course, this is number 4. And the next thing is for him to get into the rankings. So let's see how that goes. I'm happy for Themba. It's a good step up in competition. And I think Nico Price is on his way out of the game. So it's a nice one.
What's up, Laura? Thank you for stopping by. Uh let's go. So what are your thoughts? Sorry, prediction: Temba versus Nico Price. I
Uh
know Temba has
second round,
wicked
second round,
intentions.
second round
Temba has
knockout.
wicked Temba has wicked intentions coming into this fight, obviously.
Second round knockout. This one.
Okay. Okay. Love to see that. Love to see that. Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it. Um so sorry guys, I've lost all my windows. Oh yeah, found it. Um fir- I forgot to give a shout out to Christopher Graham. Thank you for the questions this week. Most of the questions, or all the questions I've been going through, to be honest, have been sent by Christopher Graham. Please, if you want to do the same, join our Patreon. Link in the bio. Um, you
Drop
can
your
also
questions.
what's that thing called on YouTube? Be a member on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, please pledge any amount. We really appreciate it. Buy us a coffee. Thank you very much. Um, Christopher Graham has a question. He says, have you been watching the Olympics? Any favorite moments so far?
Wow, lots, quite a number of favorite moments. One happened today, 100 meters final. Noah Lyles actually won the 100 meters. Yeah, and it was fantastic because he was a favorite. And in the heat, the qualifying heat, he came second. And people were thinking, oh, he's not going to make it in the final. And then I told people he did not take that heat very seriously because that was not the main thing. But now,
Yeah, that was the one that he turned on the finish line to look at Sylvie, the Jamaican runner, if that's his name. And apparently he Sylvie had done the same thing to him a while ago. I tell you what my favorite moment was. I actually didn't get a chance to watch anything today, but um actually I did, sorry. Nigerian girls in the women basketball
oh
qualified to the
yeah,
quarterfinals after beating Canada 79-70. Shout out to
it's
the Tigress,
that's
that's what they're called in Nigeria.
an
Incredible
incredible,
stuff.
yeah,
Even
incredible.
though our country is useless, even
Uh,
though our sporting department
yeah,
is useless,
yeah, they
bro,
are not completely useless, please.
let me tell you something why they are useless. Let me tell you something. The FIBA World Cup, the girls qualified. The women basketball national team of Nigeria qualified to the FIBA World Cup last year, and they were like one of the top heavyweights in the world. We probably would have gotten very far, as farthest as we've ever been. But the FIBA, the Nigerian Federation of Basketball, were in crisis, and the FIBA, which is the government body of basketball globally, interfered and told them, get your things, your affairs in order, or we will disqualify you. And those bastards, sorry to use the B word, did not flinch. The federation had two presidents because of greed, two presidents, and none of them flinch. And that's how the position that the the Nigerian girls qualified for the World Cup, that's how they lost it. And the FIBA disqualified Nigeria from going to the World Cup after the girls worked hard to qualify. So when I tell you how rubbish we are, I don't want to even get to Favor Ovili. Favor, she's running 100 meters. She qualified to run in the Olympics. Favor qualified to run in the Olympics for Nigeria this year, but she got to the Olympics and they told her that the NOC, Nigerian or Athletic, blah, 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 forgot to sign her up. Anyways, I don't want to talk about negativity. Let me just say, shout out to the girls repping Nigeria. We qualified to the quarterfinals in the basketball, and that's what's up. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, there's a popular thing where they say Nigeria know they carry last, right? Our mutual friend from Cameroon, she sent me on Instagram an inbox saying, "See your country again carrying last with the Favor girls." Situation like it's crazy. But then another moment that has really gained a lot of attention is the guy from Turkey, the shooter.
Oh my God! The shooting in Olympics this year has been the. I never knew that shooting can get so many fans that it does this year. Because there was the Korean girl, that South Korean girl that like broke the world record. I don't know how they measure world records with shooting. Well, she broke the world. She broke the world record, and she looked like a movie character doing it. That was so badass, right? And then the Turkish uncle came with his glasses like he was going to fix your computer and won a silver medal. And now there's so many memes online. I cannot even believe some. I saw one meme of some edited picture and I believed it. It wasn't. It wasn't it. But shooting really got my attention this year. And there was a chart where they showed like the medals in shooting and they showed South Korea #1 and then America was in the bottom and someone was like, WTF, what's going on here? Because isn't America popular for shooting and gun and all that? And they couldn't win the shooting thing.
Okay. There's a controversy that's happening in, what's it called?
Boxing. Yeah. Iman Khalifa.
Algerian lady.
Yeah. Iman Khalifa. Yeah. I did see that. You know what happened? You know what happened? The thing is, when Americans bring their politics into sports, right? It's so stupid. It's so stupid because all that narrative that was out there about the way they were crucifying this poor girl. She was born a woman. She does those things that women do, like the menstruation, and then she can have a baby. And you're going to go pick up some records somewhere saying IOC did some test, and apparently some people say that the results, they didn't give a reason why. They said, oh, she's got XY chromosome. Some people said it wasn't declared what the reasons were why she was disqualified. And in the same IBC, I think it's called IBC, it's a Russian boxing federation thing, right? The regulation body. The same IBC, she has come back and still fought in a card that was organized by that organization, even after she was disqualified the first time. And the same girl has lost to many other girls, talking about 9 girls or 5 girls. I can't remember the figure exactly, right? You know what happened when I saw that and I saw the tweet? Right. Thank you, Laura. Laura says she has high testosterone. Laura, I'm going to remind you about a girl called Caster Semenya from South Africa. Yeah, she ran 800 meters. She's a 2-time Olympic champion. Caster was born a woman. However, Caster doesn't even menstruate. Right? That's how her situation is in her body. And her testosterone level was very high. Do you remember when everybody in the world was advocating for her when the federations and regulations were saying she shouldn't run with girls because her testosterone level was too high? And she said she refused to suppress it because they were telling her to take anti-testosterone, blah, blah, blah drugs to suppress the levels. And she refused to do that because she's like, this is how I was born. And everybody in the world was saying, yes, yes, we stand by you. Remember that time? Then where is that energy to this Algerian girl?
It's because it's a combat sport. Yeah,
Oh,
so
come on, man.
it's a bit
Oh, come
different.
on, man.
Combat
Nah,
sports is different from athletics.
nah. It's
So
unfair. It's unfair. And to be honest, if you're talking about women rights and protecting women, you should protect you should protect Iman. That's the person to protect because the world has been cruel to her. Well, it's nice to see some people are standing up for her. To be honest, when I first saw this, because I've been I've been deceived by so many fake news in Nigeria because if you follow Nigerian Twitter, so many fake news go around. So right now, I'm very, very cautious with the way I consume my news. So when I see something, it's just a Google. I just do a quick Google check. So when I saw a tweet, the first tweet I saw about this Algerian girl, someone mentioned uh the Italian girl was crying because she lost because she couldn't take a punch because this person is a man. And I looked at the girl that her hand was raised. Quite all right, her figure, she looked like a man. Women athletes tend to look like men if they train too hard or whatever the situation it might be. So I wasn't surprised. She's a boxer. She looked like a man. I was like, damn, that's not right. Then I noticed her shirt says Algeria. Algeria is an Arab African country. It's like, there's no way Algeria will allow a transgender fight. Then I went and I did a quick Google search and then I saw all the controversy around her and I saw her boxing career and I saw her amateur career and all that jazz. That's when I realized, okay, this is the American politics. Those lefties and righties thing situation going on in America.
it's crazy
Donald Trump
how
people and
so
those
many
those
guys
people.
from the UFC were already
Hmm.
tweeting about it. Kobe Covington, Jorge
Yeah,
Masvidal,
well,
Derek
oh come on.
Bronson, a lot of
There's this
those
guy
guys.
called there's this Logan Paul as well. Logan Paul tweeted about it. The WWE
Jake Paul,
apparently
yeah,
contacted him
yeah,
and told them to take it down because it's not accurate. And then he came back,
Jake
oh, it is
Paul,
accurate. I said
Jake
what I
Paul.
said. She has X and Y chromosome, blah 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 blah. It's American politics, man. It just comes down to that. If you see anybody religiously defending that thing online, just check their flag, just check their account. You will see American flag, MAGA,
Muslim
all that
America.
thing, all that thing going on. I understand. I am against transgender fighting in female sports as well, right?
Exactly.
But this is not the same situation, is it? Anyways, I'm a bit frustrated with this. It was really
Yeah,
angering me.
I
Anyway,
mean, it's very
we're talking
sensitive.
about the Olympics, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very sensitive situation, where having somebody who is like a male fighting a female, it's never really acceptable. Let's be honest with
Wasn't
ourselves.
that MMA fight where a girl, a transgender, was knocked out a girl, and
Yeah,
the transgender was celebrating so much?
people,
Laura said estrogen control the female
female.
hormone.
Well, so
What? All right, I need to educate myself about what this is.
yeah,
I,
testosterone is the male hormone, estrogen is the
okay,
female. So
okay.
if she's high on testosterone and low on estrogen, it means that she
Hmm.
would have more male features than female features. So
Gotcha.
typically, the athletic commissions would want her to have reduced levels of testosterone. So they would want her to go through a therapy called HRT, hormonal
Hmm.
something therapy, hormonal replacement therapy, right? In order for
Hmm.
her to increase the level of estrogen and have a balance that is
Hmm.
sort of acceptable for female human
Hmm.
beings. So that's basically what's happening. So that happened with Casa Semenya as well, given the fact that it's a natural occurrence of testosterone, but her own testosterone level is closer to what typical
Yeah, a
male
man will be.
adults have, right?
Hmm.
And it sort of gives an unfair advantage to such a human
Isn't
being.
this the same
But
procedure that's done for people switching genders? Anyways, I
it's,
think I've
you have
I've got
similar stuff.
Yeah. I know one transgender at work. I probably would ask what that process is, so I become more educated about this stuff.
That's a very
Anyways,
sensitive.
yeah. Anyways, the world was being unfair to Iman. That's what I'm gonna say. Moving on, but Olympics is going really well. Uh, Nigeria hasn't won a medal yet. Um, Cannot wait for the women's 100-meter hurdles. You know why?
Right.
To- Toby Amusan, the
Oh,
world
to be
record
honest.
holder. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's gonna run. Hopefully nothing happens and she wins the gold. All right.
Let's wait.
I think that's everything here I've got. You've got anything you want to talk about? Because we started late, so I think it's good for us to finish now. Because I know you've got stuff to do. Got stuff to do.
Yeah,
So
it's a good time to go. Whoa. Thank you very much,
yeah,
guys. It's been a great time, good weekend.
yeah, we've had Laura chatting with us today. Shout out to Laura, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Uh, Thank you,
Uh,
Laura.
I'm
All right, guys.
sure. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
sticking around. This is Jibril of the African Fighters, and that is King Dems of the King
There we
Dems
go.
podcast. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We
Bye,
are
guys.
out.